Cavaliers at 8-1-4, the Tigers at 8-3-2. Off we go here from Charlottesville, and it should be a doozy tonight. Jesus De Vicente lets it go over his head, and an early throw here for UVA. Cavaliers coming off a 2-1 win on Sunday here at Klockner against Denver. Pioneers team that has not been as successful this year as compared to last. They made the Final Four last year, but still a good victory for UVA. And meanwhile for the Tigers, they absolutely obliterated UNCW on Tuesday, Steve, 6-0.
6-0, and I'll tell you what, it was a 6-0 game. They really controlled that whole entire 90, and they deserved the win. And you go one game back further for them, and they beat Duke 3-0. A very good Duke team, 3-0.
Yeah, they handed the Blue Devils their first loss of 2025. Virginia earlier this season handed NC State its first defeat. So don't be fooled by the lack of a number next to Clemson's name. The Tigers are receiving votes, and they are the de facto number 26 team in the country. And I'd imagine, regardless of how this night goes for them, because of that just drubbing of the Seahawks on Tuesday, they'll probably be in the top 25 next week.
And deservedly so. I mean, I think they are an actual threat to make a run in the tournament. And, you know, Mike Noonan knows how to win championships, so don't count the Tigers out.
Coach Noonan in year number 16 as the head coach of the Tigers. A couple of national championships in recent years. Here's Ulue. We mentioned him off the top. Clemson clears it outside of the 18 for the moment. Cavaliers recycle here with De Vicente. Ulue tries to drag it in towards Cage, and Joseph Ndema with the stop. Senior from Ghana has been such a vital piece for Clemson in between the posts. Tonight, it is start number 69 for Ndema.
How about that? A little undersized, but I mean, he does a great job between the sticks. He's a great shot stopper.
Serve down the line for Yoshizawa. Nick Deng usurps possession for the Hoos, a guy who was drafted in the second round of the MLS Super Draft by Real Salt Lake this past offseason. Decided to stay in college, dealt with a preseason injury, missed the first 5 games, but he has now played 90 minutes in 7 of the last 8, so steady back there.
Yeah, it's so important. He was important for them last season, and that's why he got drafted. Ultimately, he decided to come back because, let's face it, college is a great time.
Yes, it is, for so many reasons. Simmonds chests it down and finds Marco Dos Santos in a 4-way tie for first in the ACC in assists with 8. Ransford Gian, one of those other guys for the Tigers. Now Virginia has really appreciated its back 3 of Deng, Sebastian Pop, and Zachary Ehrenpreis. Those 3 are great distributors from the back.
Yeah, I think it's really impressive what UVA did in the offseason in assembling the entire team, but especially that back line. I think they looked at it and they said, okay, how can we complement Nick Deng? And the 2 guys they brought in, one a graduate student and then the other a freshman, they're a perfect fit for this UVA system.
De Vicente finds a little bit of space, feeds it inside Simmonds. 5 goals in his freshman season, releases and scores on a laser beam. He steams the strings from outside the 18. Half a dozen goals for Simmonds in his freshman season, and the Hoos have a goal very early.
Absolute bullet from Nick Simmonds. What a screamer. I'll tell you what, Top Drawer Soccer ranked him as the 2nd best freshman in the country. And to me, that's borderline criminal. Why? That's why. Because there's not a freshman in the country that's been as good as Nick Simmonds, and he does it again right there. Receives the ball, opens up, says, you're going to give me 2 feet of space? Okay, I'm going to make you pay. And he does. 1-0 Hoos.
Steve, we had a conversation earlier this week with associate head coach for UVA and Adam Parent. Simmonds is from Richmond, about an hour away from Charlottesville. And he said to us, if we didn't bring this guy in, he had interest in UVA, he's local, then shame on us.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing like getting some local talent, and he sure is that. He's been so good this entire season, and like you just don't see a lot of freshmen that can do that. we praise him down, and he's a great keeper. He's got no shot at that. I mean, that's from the top of the 18, and it moves, it swerves, and it's a great strike.
There is not a goalie in the country, maybe a goalie in the world, that's stopping that. But for the Tigers, don't just, throw them out the window just yet. One of the best scoring teams in the country. They've scored 9 goals in their last 2. Quick start, though, for the Who's and Dos Santos. He wanted a whistle, none given from Nikola Alexic. De Vicente apologizing to the center referee here as Wahabu Musa went down for the Tigers.
Yeah, it's actually a smart foul if we're being fair. But the thing he's got to be careful with is you can only give out so many in a game. The next one's probably a yellow.
Floki Stevenson, the center back there for Clemson, who made the challenge that was not given as a foul. This one was.
Yeah, he's stopping an attack. I think again, if he does it again, it's a yellow. It might be a yellow there just because it is kind of a tactical foul.
Pop smartly makes a short feed over to Dang, who had to twist around, made it a little bit more prickly for himself than he needed to. But the Who's maintain it's Dos Santos on the exterior. Cavaliers, their only loss this season on the road against George Mason. Things just kind of fell apart in late August in Fairfax. They lost that match 4-1. They had a red card situation in that match. Aside from that, they've been a pretty crisp team here in 2025.
Yeah, it was a chaotic game against the George Mason Patriots, and I think, like you said, it just kind of got away from them. But then #1 Wake Forest came to Klockner, and UVA absolutely thrashed them. And I think that's where they really realized, okay, we got something this season. We're the real deal. And it's just been up since.
It has been a program thirsty for a deep run in the postseason. Last year making it to the Sweet 16, many programs would love that. But the standards here are much higher, and George Galnavach understands that and appreciates that. And he thinks that this team is special. He has made so many comparisons to the 2019 team.
Yeah, I think this is probably the best roster UVA has had since that 2019 team. And, that 2019 team was really special. You got Joe Bell, Daryl DK, Brett Halsey, Henry Kessler, Colin Shuttler. It was a great team. And this team is, every bit as good talent-wise, I think.
The Who's made the national title game that year before losing in PKs to G-Town. 7 minutes in first half. If you're just joining us, you missed a howitzer of a goal from Nicholas Simmonds in the first 4 minutes of the match. Clemson maintaining possession here, and it's 4-4-2 formation. Kwaku Ajibang operating in the midfield, #8. Move it up towards the forward spot with Yoshizawa. A lot of congestion near the 18-yard box. Yoshizawa continues to manipulate. Free kick here for the Who's.
Yeah, and Corey, one thing I just want to note here on the goal, we talked about in the open, just the complementary play of Ulue, and he does it here where he just pulls wide. He's playing as a center forward with Simmonds, but he pulls wide. That allows Simmonds to kind of isolate one of the center backs and ultimately still score just a fantastic individual goal.
So at the very least there, Ulue is basically forcing the attention of the right back, Remy Okunlola there, right?
That's right, spreading out the defense, right? Making them defend both of them in separate places rather than kind of condensing the space and making it easier for the Tigers.
2 center backs for the Tigers are 2 Icelandic guys in Lucas Magnuson, #2, Floki Stevenson, #4. They have formed a nice partnership. They did not grow up playing with one another, grew up playing against each other, and have now found a home in Clemson, South Carolina together. How about that? Musa, Okunlola, De Vicente steps in front, but Ransford Gian is so speedy. Nice job from Sebastian Pop to usher it out. Coach Gelnovich, 3 decades as the Cavaliers skipper. He is 9 wins shy of 400 in his illustrious coaching career.
Yeah, illustrious is right. I mean, he's really just built a team, a program here in UVA that is, I mean, they're a blue blood, really. And it's not just him. You know, Matt Chulis, Adam Perrin, Jermaine Barriel, he leans on his staff a lot, and he's got a great staff at that.
This ball pinballs around midfield. Fans love this. The aerial threats from both squads as Magnuson moves it forward. Ajabang. We have a whistle as they'll bring it back here to the center circle, and a free kick for the Tigers about 10 minutes in. Here's Alex Parvu getting the nod as the right wing back for the 5th consecutive match. Coach Gelnovich has 2 terrific options out wide in that right spot. Yeah, with Parvu and with Reese Miller.
It's not an easy position to play, the wing back spot, because you run more than anybody else on the field if you're playing there. But both DiVincente and Parvu, they've just got engines on them. And Parvu, we saw bits and pieces from him last year, his freshman year, and he's really gotten the nod here, and the coaching staff really trusts him, and for good reason. He's been really brilliant for them.
Nathan Richmond on the back heel. Gian connects. Yoshizawa, loose ball in front. And it trickles out of bounds. Goal kick for UVA. Clemson apoplectic with the call.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too far away to really tell there, but it's really good build-up play, really good in tight spaces from Yoshizawa to create something there. And, you know, UVA's got to clean that up, because you can't let Tigers play in your box. So you're just putting the cross, and it does kind of look. I think Yoshizawa might have a point, at least to skim something there. And I'm just going off of Pop's reaction. He seemed to initially think that it was a corner.
Goes off of Aaron Price there. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely a corner kick.
Well, Steve, you said off the top for Clemson, Ransford Gian, the best player in the country for your money. The front 4 for Clemson, if we focus in as the outside mids, Nathan Richmond, Wahabu Musa, and then Yoshizawa and Gian, might be the best top 4 in the country.
I don't think that's crazy to say at all, because, look, they score more goals than anybody else in the ACC. The ACC is by far the best conference in the country for soccer. And, like, you watch them play, you watch the pace that they go at. You see it right here. It's just they come at you so fast, and it's really difficult to deal with, because they're also creative. And you saw it against UNCW. You know, UNCW sat back, and they didn't let the pace of Clemson kind of dictate the game. You know, they weren't going to let Clemson run past them. They just sat back, and the Clemson Tigers had no problem with that, because their guys have pace, but they also have a lot of smarts and a lot of vision, and they were able to pick locks against UNCW. And I think that's what makes this attack so good, is that they can score on you and they can hurt you in different ways.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our conversation with Coach Noonan the other day. So he talked about his team going up against programs that park the bus. They found success against the Seahawks. This will be a dangerous free kick for UVA. So Coach Noonan and company trying to make sure they don't go down by a couple of goals early on here at Klockner. National championships in 21 and 23. Last season making the Sweet 16 before losing in overtime against Wake Forest, who also beat them in the ACC title match. All right, so what are the options here for Gachi and Dos Santos, Steve?
I think they're having the same conversation that we're having right here. But I think ultimately from here, you just got to whip in a ball. You know, head height, make Andema nervous.
Gachi, too much.
Yeah, so I didn't mention it there, Corey, but I should have added keep the ball in play.
Thanks for letting us know. Albin Gachi, the senior from Sweden. His 62nd collegiate start tonight on his senior night. Boy, he has been such a pivotal piece for UVA over the last 3-4 years.
He really has. He's a workhorse in there, and he's really talented. And you can tell it's not just the armband on his left arm that lets you know he's a leader. You know, as you watch him break down the ball here, he's everywhere. He covers the entire field. He's truly a box-to-box midfielder, and they lean on him a lot.
It has been Gashi and Pella as the mainstays in the center portion of the field for UVA over the last couple of years. Forward for Dos Santos, and Dema out of the cage. Easy for Dos Santos, and it's too quick for the Hoos. He is known as a feeder, but that is his first goal as a Hoo.
Yeah, 8 assists on the year. That's his first goal, and it's a beauty of it. It's a team goal. Those are goals that you stand on the training ground, right? The coaches put out cones, and they say, do this. This is what it looks like. We see Nick Simmonds checking in deep, laying a ball off one time, another one-time pass into the back line, and Dema's in no man's land, really. One touch to beat him, another touch to finish. It's so good from the entire team, but it's also just great composure from Dos Santos, showing strength, showing speed. The Hoos are up too.
So Dos Santos with the 5th goal of his career. He had 4 at Boston College last season, and now the Tigers find themselves in a 2-goal pit in the 15th minute, Steve. What is going on that Clemson sideline right now? On the road, packed house, and you're down by a pair.
It's a scary place to be. It's a scary place to be because this is a pretty good crowd, and they're feeling it, and UVA is clearly up for the fight. They got to change something right now.
There's a buzz in this building, and the Tigers are feeling this avalanche right now. And we've been in this building multiple times throughout this season, Steve, and yeah, the energy's been here, but I don't know if it's been there like this tonight.
No, I think it's because this Charlottesville crowd knows that there's something special about the team this year, and they're watching it here tonight.
Tigers inside the 18. Thankfully for the Hoos, it glances off the noggin of Yoshizawa, and a goal kick for Casper Moles and company.
But credit to Clemson, that's a really good response, right? I mean, a lofted ball into the 18 and a pretty good chance for Yoshizawa. It's a good response after a disappointing first 15.
See Casper Moles, grad student goalie, also getting honored tonight from Denmark in his first season with the Hoos, coming over from Kentucky. He was a first-team All-American a few years ago with the Wildcats as a freshman. At times, he has had a couple of shaky moments, specifically aerially offset pieces. But overall, he is a guy who associate head coach Adam Perrin believes has MLS potential.
And I don't think that's crazy to say because, well, this is a program that consistently sends goalkeepers to the next level. And Casper Moles, he's been great this year. I mean, you watch him not just make saves, but make saves in really big moments when his team needs him. Adam Perrin's done a really nice job developing that young man.
A little bit of hesitation there for Moles, but it quickly glides outside the 18 and knocks it to his fellow goalkeeper and Ndema.
And it's a really good action from the keeper. Reads that well, doesn't hesitate. You know, we just saw Ndema maybe hesitate on his line and get stuck in no man's land. Not Casper Moles right there. He comes and he clears it.
Magnuson goes across the grain. Nathan Richmond, who has had a great season this year, 7 goals and 4 assists, wearing the 25 in orange. Senior from Atlanta. One of the big differences between these two teams, just the sheer size. Virginia, a much taller team overall. Clemson, shiftier with speed.
Yeah, you look at this matchup right here on the back line. You know, you got Aaron Price, Dang, Pop, and then you got Yoshizawa, Richmond, and Gian, and it couldn't be any more different. You know what it's like? It's like that movie, Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger twins. You ever seen that?
No.
Okay, well, it's like that movie. Watch it, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I can imagine just the difference in size between those two people, and I get the idea.
Perfect. Now you don't have to watch it.
I'll still watch it. Parvu outside defending here. Clemson switches the point of the attack. Okunlola. Remy loses the ball. De Vicente makes a sprint. Jesus De Vicente has become one of the best playmakers as a wingback in the country. Top Drawers Soccer recognized him as the midseason number 37 player in the country.
Yeah, the grad student has been really, really good. I mean, he's an engine on the wide areas, and what's really special about that is, you see what Dos Santos does as a classic 10, right? He creates, he assists goals and all those things, and De Vicente does it from the wide position. He's really dangerous from that position, and I think he could play as a classic 4-back, outside left back, but this wing-back position just suits him so well, and he thrives there.
We could have a whole technical session about the formation that Virginia plays, but this 3-5-2, what do you enjoy most about it?
It's really creative. I think it's really unique. It's really fun to watch. I think oftentimes you'll see college soccer programs play a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2, because it's safe, it's easy to teach, and it's easy to implement.
Arthur Duquesne, his cross nullified by Pella. This will be a deep throw for the Tigers.
But that being said, this UVA coaching staff has really trusted these players to take on something a little bit more advanced, and they have a lot of fluidity, a lot of freedom. Talking to Adam Perrin earlier this week, he said they just trust the guys to be in the right spots, and you see it on the second goal. Simmonds dropping back, checking to the ball, Dos Santos running in behind. It allows just these guys to express themselves and be creative.
All right, so a set piece opportunity here for the Tigers. We were mentioning a couple of moments back that Clemson does not have a lot of size, but maybe this is the guy who they look to, Wahabu Musa at 6 feet tall, but he is a leaper.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a couple tall guys, right? Stevenson, Magnuson. Ultimately, though, as I was saying to you, my good friend Corey, you got to keep the ball in bounds when you take free kicks.
And it's a head-scratching moment for both coaches when that happens, right? Tonight at 7:30 Eastern on ACC Network, fresh off its upset of then number 2 Miami. Number 19 Louisville hosting Boston College. Also available on the all-new ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. Virginia football earlier today, beating North Carolina, preventing the Tar Heels from scoring a game-winning 2-point conversion in OT. That was a fun one.
Yeah, awesome win for the Hoos to defeat not only Bill Belichick, but Jordan Hudson.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Richmond brought it down. They move it back to Ajabang. Gian with 2 Cavalier defenders noticing him. Okunlola. 2 more Cavaliers approach Remy, and Okunlola loses it, and that fires up the Cavalier bench and De Vicente.
Yeah, it's well done there from De Vicente, just to stand his ground, be patient, don't dive in, and ultimately come out with the dub.
Bowles missed a couple of starts this season. He was in concussion protocol against UNC and Milwaukee. This is start number 12 of his season. 7-1-3 in those starts. Cavaliers have not lost a match in 10 straight. They have bounced around from number 8 to number 9, and now down to number 11 after a tie against UNCG last week. But the Spartans are a ranked program, so it's not a terrible result at all. In fact, the Cavaliers are 7th in the RPI going into today.
Yeah, and the committee ranked them 3 when they released their projections for the top 16 of the tournament. So it'll be interesting to see where we end up after the ACC tournament and where they eventually get slotted.
Yeah, the Cavaliers were 3rd in that Division I committee reveal. Princeton number 1, Stanford number 2. A lot has changed since then. That was 11 days ago. But we inch closer and closer to the NCAA tournament. First, of course, the ACC tournament. About a week and a half. Tigers get their first corner of the evening. Nick Simmonds helping out his defense. Shot from outside the area, tailed wide from Duquesne.
Yeah, not a bad idea from Duquesne. Obviously, the execution wasn't there, but I think the ball bounces to you, and you got to have a go.
Junior from France, Duquesne. Had 3 assists in the ACC semifinal game against Louisville a couple of years ago. And a Tigers program that's amongst the best of the best in college soccer. 37 NCAA tournaments in program history, 7 shy of Virginia's 44. Tigers have made 10 college cups, 4 national championships, 87, before that 84, and then 21 and 23. Down the line for Musa, and then Aaron Price, a sturdy freshman, just walls him off. Really good experienced play, which is a strange thing to say about a freshman, but I mean, really calm. Long ball forward, seeking Simmonds, but there to stop it, Stevenson. Cavaliers switch the point of the attack rapidly. Alex Parvu has become a nice playmaker for this program. 5 assists this season, had a 2-assist game against Wake Forest in that 6-3 drubbing of the Demon Deacons earlier this year.
Yeah, everybody got involved in that game, I think.
Thought you may have had a touch or 2 in that match.
Nope, riding the bench as always.
Okay. The Pine is where you're used to being. Simmonds sneaks it around. Simmonds on goal. It's a trio for the Hoos in 24 minutes. The second brace of the young phenom's career, the Wahoo Wonder Kid.
He's got size, speed, power, but most importantly, he has a nose for the goal, and he always seems to be in the right spot. And you see it here, just a bit of sloppiness, ball pokes to him, and to have the wherewithal to take that as your first touch is absurd. To poke it past the defender, to beat him on your first touch like that, I mean, it's so good, and it just shows he's got the instincts of a great number 9. But the play doesn't stop there, of course, because he's got to finish it off. He opens his hip, shows Ndema that he's going to go near post, and then closes him, goes far post on the ground. And I think it's a perfect celebration, because come on.
It's a can of corn for him right now. He is making this game look so simple. So the freshman now with 7 goals on the season. And Virginia way out in front of Clemson right now. And if you pay attention to live tables, the Cavaliers can hold on. They would put themselves into a tie for first with Stanford. The Cardinal would have a game in hand before their match against SMU tomorrow. Dang shepherds this one out. Goal kick for Casper Moles.
Yeah, you know, we were just talking about that Wake game before the 3rd goal, and they scored 6 goals against Wake here at Klockner. At one point, they were up 5-0, I think. So this is well within UVA's ability to, you know, just keep scoring, and I think Clemson's got to recognize that and make some changes, because they haven't made a sub yet.
So aside from personnel changes, like what would you want to see differently from Clemson?
Well, I think they got to change it up personnel-wise, of course, but I think more than anything, you just have to stop the UVA attack, and I think that starts from the front line. I think the front line has to be that first line of defense and not just be worried about scoring goals, but, you know, get involved in the press. I think Clemson, when they're playing well, they press the ball really well. And Jan leads that. He's super energetic, and Yoshizawa helps out. So I think that's where it has to start. They just got to be more disruptive when UVA is establishing possession.
Well, I'll tell you this, Steve. I'm sure Tiger fans are at home right now watching and thinking, this is too frenetic. Like, they have to slow it down. But speaking with both coaching staffs this week, that's not in the DNA of Clemson. This is not a slow it down, break you down team. They want to go direct. They want to play fast.
Yeah, Clemson's really good in transition, but UVA is too. And so I think so far what we've seen today is, okay, if we're going to play that type of game, UVA is going to win it.
Now with a 3-goal cushion, chances would suggest that that would be the case. But still plenty of time left, and obviously the Tigers are fantastic up front. And it all starts with Ransford Gian wearing the number 10.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this game is very far from over. There's a ton of time left, and Clemson has goal scorers. So it's just a matter of time before it clicks and they find themselves in behind. They've created a couple half chances already, so just more of that.
Well, Steve, the shots are even at 3. The difference is Virginia scored on all 3 of its shots.
How about that?
Crazy. Dos Santos taking on 2 Tigers. Magnuson gets a foot and clears it outside the 18. The Cavaliers right back on it. Ulue sends it horizontally. Aaron Price flags it down as DeVicente right in front of him. Instead steers Sebastian Pop, first-year college player coming in from Norway. Ulue sprints towards the byline, keeps it on the ground. Back to Dos Santos. He scored a goal earlier today. That's blocked in front. And Dos Santos regains. Pressure continuing to mount on the Tigers' back line. DeVicente clips it across. Pella steps into it. Good work from Yoshizawa to at least peel away with it for a moment. Here's Pella. Parvu on the outside. Simmonds his option inside the 18. Stevenson, or rather Richmond, excuse me, went to a knee. How fortuitous is this for the Who's? It gets down to Ulue, taking on Okunlola one-on-one. Ulue right towards the top of the 6. Tigers finally blasted aside.
You know, Clemson just can't catch a break there. A lot of opportunities to clear the ball, and they're not able to do it. I think you got to make a change, and I think it's got to start with putting Matthias Lieben for Magnuson, because this is just, it's too much to handle, and it's too much to sustain. They're going to start scoring more goals. And, you know, that was one action that we saw right there that ended with a really poor clearance. You know, he barely clears 20 yards, and UVA now has a dangerous throw in the attacking third.
Now, you mentioned Matthias Leib. He is standing up right now next to Coach Noonan with 17 minutes to go in this first half. Simmonds gets a head on it near Ndema, who lets it go out of bounds. Again, you see this direct style from Clemson, but it doesn't work. Too far out in front of Yoshizawa, who is coming off back-to-back braces against Duke and UNCW.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a frustrating spot to be in if no one's showing for the ball, but ultimately it's kind of a lazy decision from Magnuson to just lob it up and have Yoshizawa have to run on and win an aerial battle against Pop.
Yoshizawa inside the area. It banked off a body, very threatening in the Tigers' favor. Corner kick for Clemson. Cross in. Cavaliers get it out. Okunlola lifting it back in towards the 18. The center backs are still forward with Magnuson. And inside the 6, directed out. Cavaliers, they're trying to survive some pressure here from Clemson as the Tigers get another set piece.
Yeah, it's a good response from Clemson. You know, they're not backing down.
Ransford Gian to take another outswinger if they don't go short. Again, it's number 7, Wahabu Musa, attached to the goalie in Moles. Went off the foot of Stevenson and lollipops over the cage. Loki Stevenson, 6'4" sophomore center back from Iceland. Spent his freshman season at Virginia Tech. Made 16 starts with the Hokies last season and was an all-ACC freshman team selection a guy who has logged a lot of minutes in his young collegiate career.
Yeah, a really promising young player for this Clemson team, who has a lot of young, promising talent. I mean, you look at their starting lineup, and Musa, Agibang, Gian, Stevenson, all really young guys, and all a part of a foundation that Mike Noonan can build on.
Yeah, the Tigers lost some big-time talent from a year ago, a team that made the Sweet 16. Joran Jarbet spent a couple of years with the Tigers. He was the ACC Midfielder of the Year. Alex Meinhardt, as a grad student last year, was a first-team All-Conference player. So there are some players who have departed, and yes, yet this is a team that's only suffered defeat 3 times this season. But they have had a couple of, why did they lose that game, kind of results?
For sure.
Queens and VCU. Inside the box, and oh boy, that was close for the Tigers.
Yeah, it's a good hit from Jan just to pick up the ball there and have it go. I don't think he misses by a lot, and I think he certainly had Moles beat there.
We have just over 13 minutes to play in the first half, and the Cavaliers striking early and often in this match.
Yeah, and here's how it happened. Nicholas Simmonds happened, involved in all 3 goals. Here's his first, just picking it up, turning, hitting it. I mean, you can't give a guy as good as Nick Simmonds that much time. And then the second one, I mean, I like the second one even better than the first. It's a beautiful touch around. And oh, by the way, Dos Santos. Here's Nick Simmonds checking in, laying off, one time through. It's beautiful, beautiful soccer, showing off pace, showing off a wonderful finish, and it's the Who's are flying.
So there's your summary. 4th minute goal from Simmonds. Added the brace in minute 24. His 2nd collegiate brace. Had 2 goals against Wake Forest here at Klockner Stadium as the Cavaliers play in their 11th and final home match of the year. Virginia did make a sub, and Stephen Herlock is in the match, the 6'1" freshman from Georgia. We showed you a couple of forward options off the top alongside Simmonds in Alue and A.J. Smith and Marco Dos Santos, who starts tonight as a center attacking mid. Herlock is another name to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the coaching staff at UVA has a luxury of talent on the bench. I mean, they've got Herlock, they've got Smith, they've got Reese Miller, Tangigora. Luke Burns is a player I really like. So, you know, I don't know what goes through Coach Geldenbach's mind when he puts in one over the other, but they can all get it done, and they all complement Nick Simmonds really nicely, and they let him. They free him up, right? And they let him kind of play with this freedom and this fluidity and that we've seen so far. I mean, when he's in the zone, he's unstoppable.
But you mentioned the bench that Coach Geldenbach possesses. It's a smaller team than it was a year ago. I mean, last year's roster, I believe, had 41 players on it. This year, 30. But from the get-go in preseason, they talked about how a smaller roster helped everyone feel like they'd be involved at some point. Even a guy like Stephen Herlock hasn't played much this season, but getting a crack here in late October.
Yeah, no, you said it, and I think it's really true that less is more when it comes to assembling a roster.
Herlock, who has played just 47 minutes this season, veers his way towards the interior, coughs it up, and Duquesne on the intercept. You just don't have many guys on the team who are sitting there on the bench knowing, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to be a part of this match tonight. Everyone could be involved at some point.
Yeah, which I think happens naturally when, you know, you have a big roster as big as 41, because, you know, you just think about it week in and week out on the training ground. You know, if you're going to play 11v11 with a 41-man roster, then, well, you've got another 22 that are sitting on the bench. Narrowing the roster, and it really just brings a team together more. You know, it makes it more of a cohesive unit, and ultimately I think it develops chemistry because you know who you're going to be playing with.
I think last year's team might have needed 2 school buses to get over to the airport here in Charlottesville.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, James Kelly is in. Misei Yoshizawa gets a break for the remainder of this first half. Kelly, a 6'2" senior from Gastonia, North Carolina, scored a goal against UNCW in the 6-0 victory back on Tuesday. So Steve, you called for some personnel changes, and Mike Noonan not shy to make them as we go down the stretch of half number 1.
Yeah, and I think it's a good sub in James Kelly because, well, one, he's in good form. Like you said, he scored very recently, and also he's got some size that I think can help against this very large UVA back line. So I think that might be kind of what Mike Noonan is thinking is, okay, can we put a big body up front that can win a couple aerial duels that ultimately lead to the ball falling in Ransford Jan's feet?
Hey, women's sports take over the afternoon every Sunday on ACC Network, and tomorrow the evening too. We start at noon Eastern with volleyball, number 5 Stanford and Georgia Tech. 7 Eastern, NC State hosting number 7 Duke in soccer, and both are also available on the all-new ESPN app. ACC women's soccer season also coming to a close, just like the men's campaign. But a big difference in the postseason on the women's side. Only 6 programs in the ACC make the tournament as compared to all 15 on the men's side. Musa can't bring it down cleanly. Pella chests it over. Dos Santos steers it over to Parvu. Simmonds out wide. And one of the things that the Cavalier coaching staff, Steve, really appreciates about Simmonds, plays in so many different areas. Yes, he's a number 9 striker, but he acts like a midfielder. He acts like a wide position player. So versatile.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna give him some more praise here, but I think it's warranted. He plays a lot like Harry Kane. He really does. He'll drop into the midfield and become a playmaker, which makes it really difficult for a center back to pick him up because you don't know where he's going to be, and it makes him difficult to game plan for. But he's just got a really deep bag of tricks and abilities, and I think he's only going to grow in that.
Under 8.5 minutes to play here in half number 1. Shots, believe it or not, even at 5. But the Tigers have not had a shot on target just yet. All 3 Cavaliers shots on target have gone behind Joseph Endema. Simmonds checks back into the ball, makes himself available. He deals it over to Herlock, takes on his defender one-on-one. Stephen Herlock inside the 18, good-looking cross, knocked aside by the Tigers.
Yeah, it's another really good movement from the UVA offense that starts with Nick Simmonds checking the ball. Positive first touch, shields off the defender, slips Stephen Herlock in behind, and then, you know, it's just a cross that doesn't come off quite like he wanted it, but it's a really decent move.
Dos Santos slides it into Simmonds. De Vicente waiting on the outside. Jesus has a couple of assists tonight on his senior night. Now 6 on the year for him. The UIC transfer that 2 years ago had 11 assists. Pop. Back to Dang. And now Parvu. Play has calmed down a little bit over the last couple of moments. Aaron Price and Jesus De Vicente, who started his career way back in the spring of 21 against with West Virginia. So this is year number 6 in collegiate soccer. Pella so poised and calm on the ball, regardless of how much pressure surrounds him. Dang elevates it. Dos Santos wiggles it right over to Herlock. Stevenson on defense. Dos Santos accelerating towards the byline, earns a corner kick here for the Who's, their first on the evening.
And you saw it there, just the many weapons that UVA has. You know, they sat on it. They said, okay, let's slow it down, and very calmly advance the ball to the Clemson back line and ultimately earn the corner. I mean, they are showing that they can kind of beat this team and unlock this defense any way they want.
A crowded phone booth inside the 6, and before this corner will get played in, Nikola Alexic, center referee, making sure that the rough stuff does not ensue. And Wahabu Musa is pulled out of the fray alongside Sebastian Pop. I'm sure Musa wants to be as physical as he is allowed to be, with Pop at 6'3" and a hulking presence inside that 6. Corner comes in, the in-swinger. Tigers deal with it nicely. Here's Ransford Gian, who really has not touched the ball all that often in the last 15 to 20 minutes. And the Cavaliers make sure that it's a momentary possession of the ball.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a big-time play from Pela there, but it is. I mean, to win that one-on-one battle with Gian before he even gets going is so key to keeping these Tigers at bay.
Inside for Herlock. Oh, the Tigers just get a foot on it there. It was Stevenson, the emergency defense.
Really, really good stretching tackle there from Stevenson to stop the 4th goal.
This is the only time Ransford Gian's touched the ball in the last 10-15 minutes or so.
Yeah, 2 touches, Pela steps on him. I mean, it's so good. It's a clean tackle. He knows it. And he's got to be getting frustrated because he's used to being on the ball a lot and being able to really create a lot. But he's not given a second to breathe by UVA, and that's exactly what they should be doing.
Gashi funnels and looks. Sends it up top for Herlock. Magnuson the assignment. Herlock couldn't dangle around him. Goal kick here for Ndema. Joseph Ndema, who has surrendered 3 goals in the first half tonight. Again, this is his 69th collegiate start. He has only given up 3 goals now 5 times in his career. That's it.
So it's a rare occasion night for Ndema, and I think I'd be interested to see if he's ever given up 4, because he is a great keeper. But I think, you know, you look at all those goals and you can't really ask him to do much more other than the Dos Santos goal, where I think he does kind of hesitate and get caught out.
You ask questions, my job's to answer them, Steve. Joseph Ndema has never given up 4 goals in his career.
Well, let's hope for his sake that there is not a first time for everything.
Pella writhing in pain in the midfield as the foul comes. And the senior from Italy is struggling here. And now the training staff for UVA is waved onto the field. Kim Johnston is the athletic trainer, who is yet to make a move herself, as Pella is in conversation with the center referee, Nikola Alexic. But good to see the Italian senior on his feet. There's Albin Gashi, his running mate.
Yeah, it's interesting that I'm not sure if it was even intentional on Pela there, the foul on Pela there, but you know, nonetheless there is contact.
Casper Moles knocks it right in the direction of Simmonds. Ransford Gian picks up the loose change. Wide position here, Arthur Duquesne. Long ball for Kelly. It really seems like, Steve, Virginia is inviting that long ball, that they have so much confidence in those 3 center backs.
And for good reason, right? I mean, they're so solid, they're so excellent in the air. And I think Clemson's got to recognize that, what you just recognized, that it's not working, right? They can put Kelly in to win these aerial battles, but he's got to then actually win some aerial battles. So I think you got to change the game plan, be more creative than just long balls that you hope to win.
Here's Dang over the head of Simmonds. Dos Santos glues it to his foot. Gian, tough challenge there. Referee lets play continue. Out of bounds it goes for a Tigers throw. Good piece of news, though, for UVA this evening, in addition to having the 3 goals here in the first half. Brendan Lamb, who has missed the last 10 matches with an injury against George Mason back in August, he's available this evening.
Yeah, which is huge because he's kind of a Swiss Army knife for this UVA team. He can play in a lot of different spots. I think he could play one of the double pivots that Pela and Gashi play. He could be a wing back. He could even slot in on the back line. He's a super versatile player who I know this coaching staff is really, really pleased to have back on the bench available healthy.
Yeah, Brendan started 20 games last season for the Hoos as a sophomore. There was a hard challenge in that Patriots game about 10 minutes in. It's a toe injury, but he has overcome it, and he has been training with Virginia over the last few weeks. A minute to go now in the first half. Musa tries to get fancy with it.
Well, you know, I was just saying, I think Clemson's got to be more creative, and credit where credit's due. That was creative.
What's that guy thinking going into the locker room?
You know, he's a lot smarter than me, so, you know, I don't presume to know what he's thinking, but I think he's saying that you got to come out and you got to make a statement in the first 10 minutes of the second half, right? You got to try to punch UVA in the mouth a little bit and get something going, because if you let it linger, if you let this 3-0 scoreline linger, then ultimately I think your team is going to play a little defeated. But if you get that goal right after halftime, suddenly it's a bolt of lightning, and it makes you dangerous.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, the Cavaliers, from the start of this first half, stomped their foot on the gas pedal and did not let up, as someone who could provide Nicholas Simmonds some assistance up front.
Yeah, he brings something different from Herlock and Ulue. He's got a lot of size. He's another guy who got drafted in the MLS Super Draft last year and ultimately decided to come back to UVA for one more season.
Smith has scored a couple of goals this season against Milwaukee and Notre Dame. Cavaliers in the navy, Tigers in the orange, as we get second half action going here, and immediately there's a concern for injury here on the UVA side. That is Albin Gashi, who is holding the side of his face, the captain, the senior from Sweden.
See the challenge here, just catches an elbow. Yeah, catches an elbow in the face, which hurts.
And that was Lucas Magnuson who provided the elbow, and the center referee, Nikola Aleksic, has signaled that he's going to take another look for a potential red card situation as the trainer, Kim Johnston, comes out, and Brendan Lamb, who has missed the last 10 matches with a toe injury, is getting set to make his return.
What are you doing? So, possible violent behavior, just checking over there.
The ball was out of bounds.
No. I understand.
The ball was out of bounds.
I know. That's why just double checking on Colin Field is nothing. Colin Field is nothing checking for it.
All right, so you could hear Aleksic telling Mike Noonan, we're just going to check, we're just going to check, we're just making sure.
Yeah, and I think that's the right thing to do. You know, he has the time, right? Gashi's still on the ground. I think this is not a red card, and it shouldn't be called a red card, and I don't think it's ultimately going to be a red card.
Another vantage point from behind the goal line.
Yeah, you know, it's a bit of a nasty play, right? But I think it's probably a yellow, or it's definitely a yellow card. I think it would be a pretty harsh red card.
Nothing there.
So Magnuson, the man in question there, and after the review, Aleksic says no further penalties, so there will not be a card given out here. And Gashi in communication with Aleksic now, saying, hey, there was an elbow.
Yeah, and I'd be curious what the referee there is telling him, because there was an elbow. There's a very good look at an elbow that caught Gashi in the face. So Yeah, to me, that's always going to be a yellow card, but apparently not here.
Well, when they go to review, they can only give out a red card and not a yellow. So it's red or nothing.
Right. And they can also get the call right when it happens.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Just 40 seconds gone by in the second half. Gashi, by the way, does continue wearing that number 12 in midfield. We did see Brendan Lamb near the touchline getting ready to check in. We'll see if that's still the plan.
Yeah.
Stevenson.
I think at some point we will see Lamb, whether it's, you know, sooner rather than later. But I think this UVA team wants to get Lamb some minutes, and they want to start working him back into the rotation, because I think down the stretch he's going to be a really important player for them.
And today finishes up a 4-game homestand for UVA. Just 1 game left after tonight. SMU coming up on Friday down in Texas.
Yeah, you know, I think that's something that isn't talked about a lot with this new ACC format is, you know, you talk about, oh, these East Coast teams have to go to California and the California teams have to go to the East Coast. For SMU, it's never good. No matter who they're playing, if it's an away game, they're hopping on a plane, and it's a long travel day.
Duquesne funneling it in towards the 18. Finally, it gets outside of the area. Bakari Tanjagora is also in for the Hoos, 17 in the Navy. The freshman from Senegal who played his high school ball in Jersey. He has starting experience this season and has gobbled up a lot of minutes that Brendan Lamb has vacated. Duquesne slots it. Turnaround move, and the cross in does not go that time. They get it back in towards the 6. Aaron Price sticks a foot in and clears it out. That was Ajabang creating a lot of that opportunity for Clemson. And now some issues for Sebastian Pop. Tonight, 7:30 Eastern, ACC Network, fresh off its upset over then number 2 Miami. The Cardinals of Louisville, ranked number 19. They're going to host Boston College. Also available on the all-new ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere. Just 10 minutes away from that. Duquesne. Clemson would love the first goal of this second half, no doubt about it, to put themselves in a better position. As Dave Vicente gives it back to Aaron Price. What's top of mind here for the Tigers in the early moments of this second half?
Well, I think you got to press the ball. I mean, you have to give it everything. You know, you're going to be tired if you're constantly pressing, but there's really no other option because you're in a big hole and you need every minute of these 45s to climb out of it.
Fans displeased. They thought Ajabang had a push. Tried to sneak it inside for Yoshizawa. Wahabu Musa. In a battle with Dang. Duquesne across towards the back post. And the right back Okunlola tracks it down.
Yeah, nothing comes from it, but that's a really, really, really good cross from Duquesne to whip the ball in there. Make it really dangerous. Keep Moles on his line. It's perfect.
Duquesne again. Tanjagora steps in the way. Duquesne takes the ball back. Makes a crafty maneuver towards the corner against Ulue, and they'll bring it back for a Tigers free kick. And because you saw Ulue kick the ball away, center referee will stop the clock. And now Ransford Gian, 8 goals, 8 assists, tied for the team lead. Excuse me, tied for the ACC lead coming into tonight. Gian, a delicious ball in, pops over the crossbar, goal kick, and again Clemson disagrees vehemently.
Yeah, and I think I saw what they're seeing because I don't think there was a Clemson head on that. It's a really, really good ball from Gian, and I'm pretty sure that's a UVA head on. Yeah, that's coming off of Nick Dang there. He's missed another one.
Now A.J. Smith. 2 goals this season. Drops it off. Ulue goes for goal and overcooks it. Well, pretty cool connection in this match with Bakary Tanjagora coming in, the freshman from Senegal. He played with Cedar Stars Academy Bergen in Jersey, led them to the MLS Next final. And Tanjagora has a lot of familiarity with some of these Tigers players. You see Bakary there. And yeah, Kwaku Ajabang was his teammate.
Yeah, you know, the world is a very big place, but
it's pretty small right now.
The soccer world is a teeny tiny one, and you see it there. Pretty cool to see these guys playing on the next level together.
Ajabang was also high school teammates with Ransford Gian at St. Benedict's Prep. Wide position here, Duquesne. Yoshizawa attracts 2 Who's. Reese Miller, number 19, into the match for the first time this evening. And again, it's Abagashi going down. Earlier, it was his noggin. This time, the lower body. Late season, postseason feel. Guys getting banged up.
Yeah, he's everywhere, right? He's involved in everything. And I think that's why he's constantly drawing these fouls, because he covers so much space. Of course, something I think interesting to note is we saw James Kelly in the first half come on as a sub for Yoshizawa up top. And to start the second half, he's playing center back now, in between, you know, the big Icelandic duo. So pretty interesting.
So it looks like the Tigers, yeah, they've transitioned into a 3-back, huh? A couple of wing backs here as well.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think they've pretty much just matched UVA's formation.
Reese Miller accelerates, but coughs it up. Too strong of a touch, and it's cleared aside by Okanlola.
Yeah, I think Reese Miller's going to want that one back, because against Denver this Sunday, he was in a very similar position, and he scored one of the nicest goals I've seen scored at Klockner Stadium. It was an absolute banger.
Here is Miller. His teammate is on the ground here. Miller near the byline. And now back to Pella. It's Sammy Ulue who is having trouble right now, as Tanjagora finds an open player. It's Pella. Umberto slides it into Ulue. Of course he's okay. He's on the ball right now. Sammy drags it across, and it goes off the foot of Matthias Leib. Throw in here for Wahabu Musa. Wahabu, a Ghanaian. Clemson has 5 of those guys on the roster, including Ransford Gian. It's been a pretty quiet night for Ransford. The first ever back-to-back National Gatorade Player of the Year in high school.
Not an easy thing to do. Pretty impressive. And I think if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I'd bet on him to win the Mac Hermann in the years to come. You know, he's only a sophomore. He's got a lot of room to grow and to improve.
Top Drawers Soccer ranked him as the 3rd best player in the country in the midseason vote, only behind Donovan Phillip of NC State, Zach Zengay of Georgetown. Here's Yoshizawa, no slouch of an offensive player himself. Play continues. Shouts of a foul from the Tigers sideline. Okanlola. Goal kick UVA.
Yeah, it looked like Duquesne and Nick Ding got tangled up there, and it looked pretty dramatic. So I'm not sure if the ref is going to take a look at this, but Duquesne he's furious. So it looks like as Dang is passing Duquesne, he reaches out and gives something to Duquesne, and Duquesne certainly felt it.
Now Mike Noonan and company are facing loads of adversity. Down by 3 goals. Faulkner Stadium not as energized right now as it was earlier, but still a factor. Moles outside of the 18, and Sebastian Popp is directing his goalie back into the 18 and saying, man, I got this. Dang. Pella, quick ball movement here from the Hoos. Tanjagora in a wide position. Smith inside the 18. Tanjagora, his pass deflects off the wide, and Ndema recovers.
It's good movement from UVA to kind of unlock Tanjagora there, and it's a really important defensive play from Clemson because that kind of looked like goal number 4 coming at them.
So, Steve, offensively here with a 3 center back formation that the Tigers now have, how do they, create more chances?
Well, when you play 3 in the back like this with these wingbacks, what you really want to do when you get the ball is.
Well, here's Gian inside the 18, and he coughs it up. More shouts of fouls, none coming, and Gian is getting right into the face of the center referee, Nikola Aleksic. And I don't know if he's going to review it or if he is. Okay, he is. So Gian pleaded enough to get Aleksic to take a look.
Yeah, it looked like he was pleading for a handball there. It was hard to see from this angle, but he seemed pretty adamant about it, pretty convinced.
No PK checking for possible handball. I'm just checking for you.
Neither coach is happy right now. Left hand of Pella in question here.
Yeah, it looked like the trailing hand of Pella gets involved here, and I think when you look at this, usually the trailing hand is, they're going to give some grace to that, right? Because you need it to kind of support yourself and to avoid your head hitting the ground. So I think the ref has really just got to consider whether or not he's trying to handle the ball and do anything unnatural, because usually a lot of grace is given and a lot of forgiveness is given if the trailing hand during a slide tackle is what makes contact with the ball.
So off those initial looks, you think that no penalty will be given out?
I think it'd be pretty harsh to give a penalty, but I want to put past anything. From, if a situation like this occurs, it's like it really comes down to whether or not the ref sees that as egregious enough, and I don't personally. I think it'd be disappointing.
And I think from the looks we're getting from our fantastic crew, who, by the way, has been busy over the last couple of days with several different events, and we appreciate all their hard work. Obviously, you can see Mike Noonan displeased.
No PK.
There you go. No PK. I don't think there was any doubt that the ball hit the hand of Umberto Pella. It's just a question of, was that an unnatural act?
Yep, I think you nailed it. I think that's exactly what you saw there, and that's what we saw up here. It's just the trailing hand of a slide tackle in a very natural state.
All right, one more look, Steve.
And you see, and it was a very good Clemson move to get in this position and get Rashford Jan here. And I think if he could have this back, he'd probably have a go here. But cuts it back into Pella, and yeah, I mean, it does make contact, but I think ultimately it's probably the right call.
It probably looks more and more egregious the more and more you slow it down, but in real time it does have that feel, like you said, that he's just trying to slow down his momentum and make sure that he doesn't crash into the ground too hard.
Yeah, it's a bang play, right? Because he goes to ground to make that challenge, and as his hand is coming down, it meets the ball. So yeah, I think the ref makes the right call there.
De Vicente uses the outside of the boot, locates Ulue, who overran it. And then Duquesne knocks it off of Sammy, but it does stay in play. And a nifty little maneuver there from Ulue, the freshman, and he earns a free kick. Nicely done. Samuel Lue, the freshman from Ivory Coast, part of the Right to Dream Academy, played his high school soccer up in New York, and the all-time leader at Darrow High School with 68 career goals.
That's a lot of goals.
You scored 68 in your lifetime?
Yeah, Corey. Come on, man.
Okay. I'd like to see the footage to confirm.
All right, I'll give you my dad's number.
Got it. Stevenson picks his head up and sees, you know, everyone's sagging off. This is something Adam Perrin told us the other day, that Virginia would sacrifice some of their normal pressing pressure.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a natural thing to do, right? When you're up 3-0, you know, you're pretty comfortable. You don't need to go chase it. And they're pretty comfortable here, just kind of sitting in this defensive shape, letting Clemson come to them.
Magnuson lifts it towards the 18. Pop is in the right spot. Cavaliers give it up. Okunlola on the byline. Redirects to Pella, who takes no chances. Here's Tanjagora. Parvu hustles, as does Magnuson. Now Tanjagora seeking out Ulue. No dice there. Duquesne on an island here with Parvu. Gian off the body of Deng. Ransford recollects. Gian in a battle here with Parvu. Ball stays in. Headed out for a corner.
That's really good from Gian. You know, he looks like the most energetic player on the field right now. You know, he's not backing down. He's up for it. He's trying to create. You know, as you get it here, he doesn't have a lot, right? So he says, okay, I'm going to try to do it myself. I'm going to try to get these guys going. Ultimately, puts in a pretty dangerous ball and earns a corner.
Gian chips it in. Oh, that could have been dangerous from Leib, but he directs it out. Virginia and Clemson here at Klockner. First time it's happened in 9 years. Let's flash back to 2016 when these two teams faced off. Nice jersey combos here, as Virginia had to mount a comeback in this game.
Yeah, this was a barn burner. I had the privilege of watching this game in person, actually. I was a big fan of number 20, Patty Foss. And yeah, this game was electric. And I'll tell you what, Virginia has 3 in this game. Can Clemson match those 3 and repeat history?
We'll find out. Austin Barnacle had the goal there for Clemson that you saw. Sergi Noose, game-tying goal in the 80th minute. Marcus Solandi DeFore had 2 goals in that match. It's a pretty entertaining one, just like this one is. But for now, one-sided in UVA's favor. Yoshizawa goes down. Cavaliers fans don't like it, but a free kick for Clemson.
Yeah, as you see, Yoshizawa just gets good body positioning. You know, it doesn't show the ball to the defender, and ultimately wins a pretty dangerous free kick for his team.
Ulue heads out, as does A.J. Smith. Simmonds and Triton Beauvoir in for the first time this evening. Another senior getting recognized tonight, one of the dozen. Beauvoir coming in from Boston. Gian off the free kick, looking right at Musa. Again, that 6-foot target, Wahabu Musa. He would be a regular on the Cavaliers roster in terms of size, but he is the biggest target that Clemson possesses normally. As Aaron Price gets back on his feet. Our next All Access, the ACC Life, premieres Thursday night, featuring NC State women's soccer defender Brooklyn Holt, North Carolina volleyball outside hitter Chelsea Thornton, and SMU men's soccer goalkeeper Martin Dominguez. You'll get unprecedented access into the lives of the student athletes, coaches, staff, parents, and fans. 10 Eastern, right here on ACC Network and the all-new ESPN app. Looking forward to watching that. Duquesne. Down the line, Ransford, Gian, pedal to the metal. Nick Dang does the same. Simmonds clips it forward in a race here with Stevenson, and Floki just pushes it back to his goalie, and Dema. How do the Tigers handle Nicholas Simmonds better here in his second stint of this game?
I think you have to front him. And what I mean by that is you can't let him receive the ball with his back to goal, because he's really good at receiving the ball. And whether it's turning and shooting like we saw, or if it's laying off. So I think, unfortunately for Clemson, you kind of have to sacrifice the defender that sit in front of him and kind of play deny defense to Simmonds.
So the defense essentially has to start before he even has the ball.
Yeah, I think you just have to recognize how special of a player he is and what he can do, and how, you know, you see UVA's 3 goals. Simmonds is heavily involved in all of them. And so you have to say, okay, we're not going to let you do that. You need to score a different way. And I think that starts with putting a player in front of him and denying him the ball.
Yoshizawa, fresh off 2 consecutive braces. Another whistle against the Who's. Nisei Yoshizawa, senior from Tokyo, second year with Clemson, started his career at Virginia Tech, just like Floki Stevenson did. Yoshizawa had a goal and an assist against Virginia with Virginia Tech a few years back. It feels like the Tigers need to get on the board sooner rather than later, and maybe it comes on a set piece. Gian swings it in, headed over the bar, way out of play, off the noggin of Leib.
It has some deja vu there, right? Another really dangerous position for a free kick, another good ball from Gian, and then ultimately the end product from Leib wasn't there. I think Clemson has had enough opportunities in this half to pull back a goal, pull back 2, but just the end product, the most important part, right?
Well, that's so correct. And just looking down at the stats here, Steve, 9 shots for Clemson, none have been on target.
Yeah, right. It's the end product, right? And it's easier said than done. You know, it looks really easy from up here, and it's really difficult down there. But if Clemson wants to get back in this game, they got to do it right now.
Simmonds, so adept with the ball in the air, bringing it down calmly. Look how casual he is on the field right now.
He's 18 years old. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, to play in a game like this and to have that type of confidence, and by the way, justified confidence, because quite frankly, he's been the best player tonight.
Yep. And many times this season, the best player the Cavaliers have on their roster. Temperatures cooling down to the low 50s here in central Virginia. Fortunately for UVA here at home, the Cavaliers have experienced, for the most part, some pretty good weather throughout the season. Clemson more on the ball here in the second half. Bypasses Musa, and a clear from Pop.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned the weather. It's not actually by mistake. They actually moved their last game, home game against Denver, up like 4 or 5 hours to play at 1 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. So, you know, that's those are the things behind the scenes that have made this this UVA team successful.
The old home field advantage. Down to Gian. 3 Cavaliers swarm him. That's what's got to be on the scouting report, right? When 10 gets the ball, we need bodies on them.
Absolutely.
Simmonds knocks it long, looking for the speedy Triton Beauvoir. Tigers take control of it, and now Leib. Steve, I'm also curious too, Clemson going into a 3-back, are they just trying to match UVA's formation?
No, I think a 3-back is, if you want it to be, it can be a very attacking formation. You see it here as they build. They have 4 players on UVA's, you know, back line. And, you know, when you chase in a game, it helps to have more numbers up. But I think it definitely leaves them exposed in the back. And ultimately, I do think, you know, when you match a team's formation, it is a little easier just to naturally pick up guys because, you know, presumably they should be standing near you.
Just over 20 minutes into this second half. Virginia scoring all 3 of its goals back in half number 1. Couple from Simmonds and 1 from Dos Santos, his first as a Cavalier. Jesus De Vicente has a couple of assists as well tonight for UVA. Ball finds Pella. Umberto ridden down. Free kick UVA. And now Pella goes chest to chest. Lucas Magnuson. Obviously for the Tigers, frustration boiling, trailing by 3.
Yeah, and it's a foul, and the foul's been given. It's, I think Pella is asking for a card there, and that's never going to be a card. But I will say there's a little shove here from Magnuson. Again, I don't think that's a card, but it's starting to get a little chippy because players are getting frustrated, and rightfully so. It's frustrating if you're wearing orange tonight.
Now the Tigers surrendered 3 goals earlier this season against Wake Forest. The difference was they won that match. Ajabang in the D, blocked. Sebastian Pop, sturdy defense. Offside here on the Tigers. So the Cavaliers with a trio of goals in half number 1.
Yeah, and it started with the man tonight, right? Nick Simmonds receiving the ball, having a look at Pella and deciding to take it himself. And I mean, it's just such a good strike, right? Curls away from the keeper, near post, and then again, a great touch around the defender, slots into the corner, and then Dos Santos gets on the end of a really good team goal here. But Nick Simmonds involved again, some one-touch play, sliding him through, and then ultimately beats the keeper. It's just really good scoring in a lot of different ways. UVA is tonight, and I think it's really promising, especially at the stage they are in the season.
Steve, you've been in locker rooms with high-level programs in the past. I feel like we've seen a few of those team goals that you just described for UVA this season, and I don't think many people associate soccer as like a organized set play type of sport, right?
Sure.
Like in basketball, you have all these set plays. Sure. But I'd imagine those are opportunities that UVA's coaching staff discusses, like, hey, if we can get the ball here, it'll drag a defender there, then we play it out wide. They can choreograph that, right?
No, totally, and you're right. It's never a set play in soccer. It's too fluid unless you have a set piece like a corner or a free kick. It's never going to be a set play. But I think I mentioned in the first half, you see Dos Santos' goal, and I guarantee you at some point this week, they did a passing pattern that looked identical to that. A guy checks the ball, lays it off one time, another one-time ball through. I'm not joking when I say every single team in the country does plays like that, but they do them with cones on, the days where you don't play with a crowd in front of you. And so it's pretty cool to see it just happen almost verbatim in front of us tonight.
And I asked the question because it just seemed so fluid from UVA in that build-up towards the goal for Dos Santos. Like there was no thinking there, it's just like it was instinctual.
Yeah, I mean, it looked so smooth, and I think it just comes from this chemistry that you can feel from this UVA team. This chemistry of, okay, I know he's going to be here, I know he likes to be there, and it's brilliant from the layoff to the pass to the run. It was pitch perfect.
Pella rolls around, no whistle. And then Dema plays it out wide. Okanlola. Boos raining down here at Klockner. De Vicente linking up with Beauvoir, but he gives it up. Musa. Gian. Yoshizawa. Parvu went down behind the play. Wide open on the near side. Duquesne. Here he is. Oh, he mistimed the header. He put it in the wrong spot. Duquesne, though, is back on it. Yoshizawa to his left. Cross gets deflected. Cavaliers clear. I'm not sure if Duquesne was going for a redirected cross there or if he was going for goal himself, but something was a little off there. Whistle comes. Oh boy, was this foul inside the 18.
I think the ref is about to card Gian for a dive there.
Oh.
I think he's going to wait for him to get up and show me yellow, which is interesting. You know, it's too far away to tell if there was no contact, but you know, Gian certainly acted like there was contact, so we'll see.
Steve, you're spot on. The yellow comes out, and it's for Gian. So the referee made his choice. He gave out the yellow. Now he tells the trainer, come on out. Ray Rozajewski is the man trotting onto the field.
Got that card? I want that card back, please. I want that card back. He's going to make another sub.
So there you go. There's the yellow card. Ransford Gian. Earlier, Pella brought down.
Yeah, and you know, Pella has a good touch there to poke it past him, and I think there is contact there. I'm not sure why he hasn't given it there. And I think it's a good call, unfortunately. You know, I don't think there was any contact there.
Then the Tigers had this build-up, Steve.
Yeah, it was a really promising opportunity that Duquesne, honestly, I think he just flubs it. I think he is trying to go for goal there, or at least he should have, because that's a header on the 6.
So Nikola Aleksic, after handing out the yellow card to Ransford Gian, is taking another look, we believe, to see if there was indeed contact from UVA inside the 18, which would result, hypothetically, in a Clemson PK. Steve, your initial thought was that this was a dive. Let's take another look.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to stick with that, Corey. And I don't know what you see, but I don't see a ton of contact there.
I think I'm with you for the most part. But obviously, Aleksic wants to just make sure that there is not contact. Obviously, it's so critical. And if there's any team in the country that can pour 3 on you real quick, it certainly could be Clemson. So to get one golden opportunity would be fantastic from the purple and orange perspective.
Yeah, and so I think he's touched. I don't think there's enough contact to warrant that reaction or a penalty, but I could be wrong, Corey.
Well, as we all saw, the foot from De Vicente went up. I don't think there's any question about that. Long look here for Nikola Aleksic.
Yeah, I think Aleksic might just be catching his breath halfway through the half.
So we've been told that Aleksic is also looking at the disputed foul that involved Pella. Okay?
On that one, it was totally incidental. Okay, there was nothing there. That one, incident free coming out, yellow card coming out. Yeah, sub him. Call on the field stands, incident free coming out, yellow card for simulation.
So everything stands from the last minute or so. Yellow card is given out to Gian, who shows how perplexed he is. It is good to see that Ransford is okay to continue, but Aleksic maintains that it was a dive from Gian.
Yeah, and maybe dive is a harsh word because there is contact, but I think it's a dive because I do think he embellishes there, and I think there's not nearly enough for a foul.
Well, Mike Noonan told us about Ransford. One of the biggest joys of coaching him over the last couple of years. He's such a great dude. Like, oftentimes you get these players who are really good. He's got 8 goals and 8 assists on the season. They're cocky, they're self-conceited. He's not.
Absolutely, and you know, saying that play was a dive has absolutely no bearing on his character. Embellishing fouls is a big part of soccer. It's a, you know, to some, beloved part of soccer. It's part of the play, right? And it's part of the game. And so, yeah, he's a great young man, and Coach Noonan had, you know, very nice things to say about him. Says that, like, while he is maybe one of the best players in the country, you know, talking to him, he's one of the most humble. And, you know, that's great to see, because I think when you have character like that, you know, that's the real foundation that you can build off of and ultimately grow to be successful with.
Yeah, in Mike's words, A-grade talent, A-grade character. Clemson throw in. Lucas Magnuson to insert. Time winding down here on the Tigers. They got to get the first before you get goal number 2 and 3. Magnuson, excuse me, Stevenson, as Musa falls down. Gashi, Tanjagora. 1v1, Tanjagora. Gashi, he goes down, he wants the whistle, pounds his fist against the ground. We move along. I think some of the Tigers coaching staff on the bench upset because Ransford Gian got a yellow for simulation, and they thought that Gashi did a similar thing.
Yeah, you know, it's a funny thing about soccer is it happens all over the field. It happens all over the field, and some guys are frankly better at than others. Some of us were made for the drama and that sort of thing, and some of us attempt it and it doesn't come off. But you know, I think it's unlucky, because I think players that get carded for simulation get a bad rap for it, but truly everybody does it.
Women's sports take over the afternoon every Sunday on ACC Network. Tomorrow the evening, too. We start at noon Eastern with volleyball. Number 5 Stanford squares off against Georgia Tech. And at 7 Eastern, NC State hosting number 7 Duke. In soccer, both are also available on the all-new ESPN app. Tell you what, the Wolfpack in men's soccer have had a tremendous season, led by a second-year head coach and Mark Hubbard. 7 straight big dances with New Hampshire, then made the Sweet 16 with NC State last year. First time the Wolfpack have been there in 30 years.
Yeah, it's really impressive what he's done there in such a short amount of time. You know, NC State was never the type of team to be the type of team that they are this season, and to come in and make an impact so quickly really speaks to just his caliber of coaching.
Dang looks up. Dang seeks the cage. Nick had 6 goals last season before getting drafted by Real Salt Lake. Corner kick here for the Hoops.
Yeah, and you know, after this play, Alex Barview showed some frustration not getting the ball there, played out wide. But I just see there, as Nick Dang receives the ball, there is not a thought in his mind other than, I'm shooting this.
Before Dos Santos readies to take the corner, conversation inside the 6 as a member of the Cavaliers did go down. And guess who? Is that Aaron Price? Yes, okay. Zach is saying that he got stomped on. No French tonight. Dos Santos finally takes the corner. Dangerous, popping around the 6. Clemson steers it out as Richmond hustles after it. Throw in here for UVA. Parvu launches in, headed away, Stevenson. Stepping up, Aaron Price. Tanjagora brings it down neatly. These freshmen for the Hoos are very poised. 14 minutes to play. Tigers still without a shot on target. Virginia with 3, all in the back of the net in the first half. Parvu zigzags inside. Parvu near the 6, across, and it's in! And it's Simmonds! Toss your hats, folks! For the first time in 13 years, a Cavalier has 3.
Why always him? I mean, who else but Nick Simmonds? Tonight's his night. Absolutely fantastic individual play from Alex Parvu. Picks the ball up, beats not 1, not 2, 3 defenders, and then finds his buddy there for a tap in. Now, it looks easy, and it's certainly the easiest goal that he scored tonight, but he's always in the right spots, and that's the important thing from every single number 9 is get in the right spots, and then it becomes easy. Alex Parvu does a phenomenal job individually to set up Nick Simmonds for his 3rd goal of tonight.
You see Simmonds there, bolting past Matthias Live like a corner and wide receiver in football. They were right near one another. Simmonds beat him. And for Virginia, the first hat trick in nearly 4,800 days.
So special. Really, really special night for Nick Simmonds.
Will Bates, the last Cavalier with 3 in a game against Mount St. Mary's, September of 2012.
You know, Will Bates, great player. Not going to take anything away from his hat trick against Mount St. Mary's, but to do it tonight against a very good Clemson team. Let's not forget, this Clemson team is really good. They sit 3rd in the ACC tonight. If they had won tonight, they would have gone 1st in the ACC. So they're no slouch, and so that just makes tonight's hat trick all the more impressive.
And with this 4-goal cushion, Virginia giving some opportunity to Brendan Lamb, the first time he has played in a match since August the 28th, coming back from a toe injury.
Yeah, great to get him some minutes, right? It's a 4-0 game. Get him some minutes, ease him back into it. To tell you the truth, I'd really like to see some other players get some minutes here and, you know, rest some of these other guys. You know, I think Nick Simmonds has earned himself some rest tonight. Gashi, Pela, you know, all those guys, you know, give them a break and maybe give some of these seniors a chance to play one more game at home.
Yeah, I'm sure those guys would love it. 12 seniors getting recognized this evening here at Klockner. Free kick here for UVA. Been a rough night for Joseph Ndema, giving up 4 goals in start number 69 of his career. It's the first time that's happened.
I suppose there is a first time for everything after all.
Cavaliers have been so precise tonight. 4 shots on target, all behind Ndema. In his career, Ndema 44, 13, and 10 with a microscopic 0.90 goals against.
It's really impressive, and I think it just speaks to UVA, right, more than it does Ndema, because he's a very good keeper. He's got a very good team in front of him. But UVA's just been better. I think from the first minute, you know, UVA has been more than Clemson can handle. And, yeah, I think UVA has just been brilliant. And I think it's more about how good the Hoos have been than Clemson. Because, again, this is a really good Clemson team. And this score line wouldn't make you think that.
And still a team in Clemson, if it can figure some things out defensively, you believe will be a factor in the postseason?
Without a doubt, without a doubt. I mean, they will absolutely be in the tournament. And once you get in the tournament, it's a new season. Nothing else matters. Mike Noonan knows how to win championships, and I think he believes in his guys. So, yeah, you know, once those brackets come out, tonight doesn't matter. And ultimately, I think this Clemson team is talented enough to make a run.
Tigers entering tonight, number 12 in the RPI. Virginia checks in at number 7. And Coach Noonan taking out some of his regulars at that last stoppage. This ball will be brought back for a free kick for the Tigers. So let's flip it over now to Virginia with this 4-goal lead. What's the ceiling of this team?
A national championship. You know, that there's no way that I think they could come out of this season with anything less than a national championship and not be disappointed, because this is the best team that they've had since 2019. And, you know, it's been a while. It's been 11 years since that 2014 team won a national championship for the Hoos. I think if there's a team that's going to do it, it's this one, because they just look so good. They're exciting to watch. They're fun to watch, and they're playing well at the right time. They played well all season, but I mean, it's October. The postseason is right around the corner. After this, they have one more regular season game, and then it's the postseason. This is how you want to look going into it. So, yeah, I mean, I think sky's the limit.
I think one of the things that maybe has helped UVA throughout the season, you know, nobody wants guys to get injured, but once they return, sometimes it galvanizes a team. Reese Miller and Nick Dang both missed the first 5 games of the season. They returned. That's an energy boost when they come back.
For sure.
Brendan Lamb out for 10 games. He's back tonight. That's a storyline. That lifts up the guys, right?
Absolutely, and it lifts the guys up, and yeah, sure, emotionally, that's a great thing. But practically, also massive, you know, because the postseason, it's tough. You're traveling a lot. You got a lot of games back to back to back to back. And to have depth is going to prove to be huge.
Tigers would at least love to walk out of here with getting something on the score sheet. Parvu goes down. Seems like he's knocked up. And that shot just goes wide for the Tigers. Abdou Mane coming off the bench, freshman from Senegal.
Yeah, you know, it's bouncing around. Ultimately, pretty good look, pretty fortunate bounce for Clemson. And Mane's going to want that one back because he's about 15 yards out and has a pretty good look at goal.
8 minutes to go now in half number 2. Still no shots on target for Clemson. So as we see this Virginia team tonight, one last time at home, and in the regular season, certainly the opportunity, who knows, maybe as soon as the ACC tournament for hosting some games. Any weakness for this Cavaliers team? Anything you can point to say this is what they have to improve upon?
I mean, it's really hard to stand here and say, yeah, they could do this better when they're beating, you know, a very good Clemson team 4-0. I think ultimately, though, it's going to come down to experience, right? You're dealing with a team that has a lot of young guys, right, and has a lot of guys that are grad transfers, and you just got to make sure that down the stretch, you know, you're a unit and you're closing games out well. But if tonight's any indication, they're going to be able to do that.
Health, of course, a huge factor. Got to keep guys fresh, ready to go as much as they can. And sights like this, they don't want to see.
Yeah, and I think it's a pretty easy decision for Coach Gallenbach here to to sub the guys that are cramping, like we see here, and give some seniors a shot and some minutes. I'd really like to see Parker Sloan get some minutes. He's a fantastic defender that just hasn't been able to get a lot of time on the field this season because, you know, this center back trio has been so good. But he's a great player. Drew Serafino, another senior, can make an impact.
See Dave Vicente get worked on here. Jesus, a couple of assists tonight. And indeed, George Gelnevach will use his bench in the final 7+ minutes. Jetta Quobwa is also getting ready to come on. You mentioned Parker Sloan there. He was a guy who started some games, played 90 minutes 4 times earlier this year, and he was in that right center back role for Nick Deng before Nick came back from the injury.
And he did really well. You know, credit to Parker Sloan. He did really well. Nick Deng obviously offers a little something different that Coach Gelnevach has opted for tonight, but Parker Sloan is a great defender, and I think you're going to see that here in the last 7 minutes.
So Nicholas Simmonds comes off. Big round of applause for him, factoring in all 4 goals tonight. And the first Cavalier with a hat trick in 13 years. Also the first Cavalier freshman with 3 goals in a match in 16 years. That was also Will Bates against Bucknell in November of '09. A moment he will never forget.
Yeah, really impressive stuff from Nick Simmonds. And you just gotta hope if you're this UVA staff that you can keep him here. You know, don't let him turn pro too early, because if he's on this squad, they're gonna have a lot of success.
Under 7 to go. So with this result, Virginia will pull to within a tie of Stanford for first place in the conference. The Cardinal will have a game in hand as Stanford faces SMU tomorrow night in Palo Alto. And the Mustangs will be the final opponent for UVA in the regular season down in Dallas coming up on Friday. Clemson, 1 more game to go on Halloween night against Virginia Tech at home. Quobwa defends here. Throw in for the Hoos. Jed has played over 200 minutes this season. Sophomore from Short Hills, New Jersey. Made a start against American earlier this year. We remind folks that the Cavaliers only have 1 loss this season. In a chaotic, frenzied game against George Mason in late August. Ties against Virginia Tech, UNC, Notre Dame, and UNCG. For the most part, all quality opponents. They've played an incredibly tough schedule. A lot of home games for the Hoos, as they normally have. They were supposed to have 11. 1 got canceled against Dayton in late September, as the Flyers were in Richmond the previous game, and it was too close in between because of some weather concerns. But Virginia has just, for the most part, been a pretty consistent team. Sometimes maybe they haven't put the opponent away like they have tonight. But once they get a second goal on you, boy, oh boy, they are tough to beat.
Yeah, and a third and a fourth. But you're right. I think there have been times where they look a little shaky down the stretch. I think the Denver game, you know, Denver kind of looked like they were coming back into it, but they managed to keep them at bay. And tonight they've just handled business from start to finish.
The Cavaliers will also improve to 8-0-3 when they score first this season. And it's really not a team throughout the year that has had to defend a lot. They have carried the load offensively in terms of possession time. Stevenson fizzes it towards the opposite side. Into the box, bouncing around. Parker Sloan, a soft tap. Moles, a blast. There's Marco Dos Santos. Had a goal for the Cavaliers in the first half. Second of the day for the Who's in minute 15. This will be a corner for Clemson. As it goes off of Drew Serafino. Came over from Boston College a couple years back. Another senior tonight. Getting recognized. Fifth corner tonight for Clemson. Duquesne lobs it in, back post, headed towards Moles, gets some fists on it. Shouts of a pen, none coming. Well, as we look forward to the national stage for both teams, last 5 national champions, it's kind of been a mixed bag. You have all those ACC teams in there, Clemson and Syracuse going back to back to back, and then Vermont in 24, and who could forget that great run from Marshall back in the spring of 21.
Yeah, I think the thing that sticks out to me looking at that is the teams that have won have really utilized the transfer portal very well. Vermont did it last year. Marshall was kind of the, I don't know, the first one to do it, the best to do it, I think. They had a roster that was, frankly, probably 95% foreign. And then that Syracuse team also did it, brought in a lot of transfers. And I think looking at this UVA team, you know, they've got a lot of freshmen. You know, Nick Simmonds is a freshman. Aaron Price on the back line, freshman. But they've managed to go into the portal and find some really key guys that fill out this roster really nicely and fit really well together. And so I think, you know, that really speaks to kind of the model of college soccer now is, yeah, you still recruit out of high school for sure, but you also spend a significant time in the portal looking at guys that want to jump ship.
Good to see Duquesne, by the way, get back up. You know, one of the other things I like looking at that graphic of the last 5 national championships, it just shows you that really anyone in the country can win. And I know we're talking about a strong ACC, right, that currently has a handful of teams ranked the most in the country in terms of any one conference. But you just never know. I mean, in fact, there are 12 different conferences represented in the top 25 this week.
Yeah, parity, which is a great thing, and which I think the transfer portal has helped with, because it gets those, you know, those teams that you don't usually see winning national championships, like the Vermont Catamounts last year. But I'll tell you what, Vermont was the best team last year, and they absolutely deserved it. So yeah, you're right, very cool, and one of the things that just makes college soccer so special.
Fans are enthralled here at Klockner Stadium as Virginia pumps 4 goals in on Clemson. Cavaliers assuredly will move up from number 11 in the national poll as they move one step closer to the postseason. Nicholas Simmonds with 3 goals and an assist tonight. A huge day for the freshmen, but for the seniors, a surgical night on senior night. 4-0 the victory for UVA as the Cavaliers bolster their record to